Okay, so this session is about manage instance creation, how to create manage instance from the portal. So you might get it out like, I mean, the people who are aware of me, you know that I have already completed this session, like spinning the manage instance from the portal. And I've shown various migrations with respect to MI. So why I'm doing that again? So that is the question. I mean, even there are few people who are part of my group, they have this question too. So I would like to do some few more things what the people have not gone through. Okay, those things are very new on MI, so I would like to explore those things. So that's the reason I would like to go on those topics. So it will be like, if anyone is interested to learn MI from the scratch, I think it's better place, because I'm going to go deep dive again. But at the same time, I might not be able to repeat all the contents, but I will ensure you will get the right knowledge with respect to MI. That is what I am aiming at the moment. So that is my plan. If you have any questions, like what are the contents that I'm going to touch on MI? So I did post something on LinkedIn, I believe. So let me show you that one. Why I'm focusing more on managed instance, it's purely because going forward, if anyone, especially about Microsoft, I'm talking about Microsoft, if anyone is going to go with the cloud, most probably they will tend to go with managed instance rather than VMs or Azure SQL. Why? Because it's like sitting in between VMs and Azure SQL. So it is sitting in between managed instance and Azure SQL. So that's the reason, uh, might be down the line, like maybe from 2 to 3 years from now, you will see entirely managed instance occupying the majority of the portion. So mark my words, it's going to be true. Okay, so any questions before I move on, like in general about managed instance? Yeah, these are the topics I did post here. So these are going to be my topics, and I'm giving you an opportunity where you can choose if you have any topics, and if you like to work on them, let me know. I will take the topics and I will definitely do practicals on them. It's an open opportunity. I would like to learn, and at the same time, I would like to know people, the topics, what they are looking for, and I will take those topics and I will work on those topics. Unlike other, trainings where they will just concentrate on particular topics. I'm not like that. I would like to learn myself first, and then I would like to share my knowledge at the same time. So that's how I went through my Azure trainings, and this is going to be happen. I mean, this is what I'm going to do again for MI.
Hey,
Okay.
Vamsi.
Yeah.
Sorry, a couple of things. I'm not sure whether you can add it or not, but
Mhm.
automation to create the MI through that.
Automation, it's like, see, we can do it from Terraform. That is one thing,
Uh-huh.
because most of the people nowadays, they would like to create multiple things at one shot, right? So
Right.
it's gonna be Terraform for sure. I didn't work on Terraform because I have to say upfront, because I cannot give false promise to anyone. So I didn't work on Terraform, but if I feel comfortable with Terraform, definitely I will take one session on it for sure. So it's about learning, right? I can't learn all the things whatever that are there, so I'm doing my best to learn whatever that is there. So definitely Terraform is it is there in my bucket, but it will take some time. That's what I can say.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. Additionally, one more thing regarding, like, let's say, like, if for the any environment, if we create the new MI or new architecture for MI,
Yeah.
what are the components, like, we need to touch base, for example, like,
Yeah,
architecture,
this is
security
what
device and all.
I went through my training, like in my last training. So if you see, let me show you. So these are the general things. Okay, these are the general things what I discussed previously. So in these things, most of the, like the basics, from the basics I went through about manage instance. But anyways, I'm going to repeat few of the things even now, so you can, if you are interested, you can participate and you can go through. Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
uh, 1 second. So getting an error. while taking, okay, we'll see that. That's not a big deal because I just created the same error. I told you that on the day, uh, it's the same thing. We will go through that, Thiru. So if no questions, I will try to start with MI. Okay, so what is MI? So why we need MI? So that's the first question, right? Obviously, so that is what I should discuss. These things were discussed in the past, but again, so I have to talk something on MI before talking about that. I would like to know if anyone worked on MI first. Like if you have any prior experience on MI. Few people might have and few people might not. So what is the level of experience what you have with MI? I would like to know about that. Just share like.
Yeah, I've been working a couple of years, let's say like 4 or 5 years, but still, like, many things I have not touched out because
Okay,
not come from the path, right? So basically, whatever work is, excuse me, whatever work kind of comes, you will work according to that, right? So that's the reason I said like ask few things because that was like, coming, could be coming soon or something like that. So I wanted to aware of it.
okay,
So that's the reason.
fine. So I expect the same, like more or less the same answers from others. Like most people, I mean, my MI is there from 2018 or 2019. It's into the market from 2018 or 2019, but people started making use of MI maybe from past couple of years. They made significant changes to MI. Okay, so I'm going to discuss about the changes that happened from last year to this year and the MI basics and some advanced topics with MI. Okay, so what is MI? So why I need MI? So that is the first question. So why I need MI? Before going to that, so what are the three things what I have with Azure? I'm talking about Azure. I'm not talking about AWS or Google Cloud here. So it's all about Azure. So when we take Azure, what are the flavors what I have with Azure? Obviously, it is IaaS and platform as a service. Agreed? Any questions? So it is IaaS and platform as a service. So when I say IaaS and platform as a service, so I have two flavors with with platform as a service. Okay, two flavors with platform as a service. I will share these materials, guys. You need not worry. So this is there on internet. I just grabbed it. So I will share these materials. So you need not take any screenshots or something like that. I will share all the materials, whatever what I'm using. Okay, I will upload it onto my drive. So if you see this picture, so we have something called as infrastructure as a service. Okay, infrastructure as a service and something called as platform as a service. So we have two things when it comes to platform as a service. We have two flavors. One is managed instance, the other one is Azure SQL. Okay, so why they have not referred anything about SAS, software as a service? Because software as a service is not applicable for any RDBMS. Remember that point, guys. So don't go and ask something like what is SAS and why it is not there with any RDBMS. No, SAS is something that is predefined. And it's, for example, if I need to give definitions for SAS or examples for SAS, it will be Outlook or it will be Teams, something like that. It's not applicable for any RDBMS right now. It might change in the future. I don't know. But for the moment, we don't have any RDBMS supporting SAS. We have only two flavors, IaaS and platform as a service. And when it comes to platform as a service, especially with Azure, we have two flavors. One is MI, the other one is Azure SQL. Okay. So MI, we call it as instance as a service. I repeat, MI, we will call it as instance as a service. Whereas Azure SQL, we call it as database as a service. So why I'm calling like that, you will get to know with examples. Okay, once I spin up the MI and I will spin up the Azure SQL as well. So you will come to know the differences between MI and Azure SQL parallelly. So why MI will come, I will let you know. But before that, what is MI? So MI is sitting in between IaaS and Azure SQL, as you can see. So to the left hand side, I have IaaS. This is nothing but Azure VMs where you have the operating system and we'll have the control on the operating system, SQLs or everything. The data centers will be there with Microsoft. Okay, rest of the things will be with us. And when it comes to platform as a service, we don't have the operating system. So even on managed instance, we don't have the operating system. That is the first thing that you have to remember. When someone says platform as a service, the first thing that should strike to your mind is we will not have operating system with that component. It can be Postgres, MySQL, Oracle, whatever it is. So we will not have operating system when I say platform as a service. Okay, so it is sitting in between these two, and the compatibility of managed instance is something where if I need to migrate my databases from on-premises to MI, so I have the support for native backups. That is a very, very, very important thing. Okay, don't again say backpack, backpack for migrations to MI. It's not required. It's not required because we have the compatibility of native backup, restore of native backup. So just take the backup from your on-premises or Azure VMs, and you can restore it onto MI. So that is very important thing, guys, because I've seen so many people saying backpack, backpack. Backpack is not required for MI because we have the support for native backup. It is required for Azure SQL database because we don't have the support of native backup restore on Azure SQL. So you have to go with backpack here, not here. Okay, so that is the first thing that you have to remember. And if you wanted to migrate your applications from on premises, so and if you don't want to leverage this functionality, when I say functionality, I mean to say, for example, I need not worry about backups because platform as a service. When I say platform as a service, what are the advantages? I don't have to maintain operating system. So the patches, everything will be taken care by the Microsoft. I don't have to worry about backups. So it will be taken care by them. When I say HA and DR, there are few things that comes naturally for platform as a service. We will discuss about that later. So there are many benefits when I go with platform as a service. I need not worry about few things. I just need to focus on my databases. That is the beauty of platform as a service. Unless when I work with VMs, so I have to install SQL Server, I have to take care of patching, I have to take care of Windows patching, not just SQL patching. There are so many things, right? I have to take care of my backups, everything. So here, that is not the case. Okay. And again, very small differences, few differences. So on MI, it supports only DB engine. It doesn't support SSIS, SSAS, SSRS. When I say it doesn't support natively. There are other ways to achieve it. We will discuss about that later. So if you have any dependencies with other components of SQL, when I say other components, it might be SSIS, SSRS, SSAS natively, then MI is not the right platform. You have to go with Azure VMs. So when I have to go with Azure VMs, when I have to go with managed instance, when I have to go with Azure SQL, these three things you have to be very clear. Okay. Don't say that, okay, MI is the right candidate or Azure SQL is the right candidate. No, that is not the case. You have to get the prerequisites. The first question first, obviously, do you have the requirements of operating system? Do you have any dependencies with other components? So get those two questions first. So once you get those answers, then you can say about this or this. So we'll discuss the difference between this and this very clearly because there are many myths surrounding around these two components. So I will show you practical demos on these two topics. Any questions till now before I move on? Is this clear? Like when I say MI, so we have to go with backpack. Is that right for migration?
No.
No. So please don't say backpack for at least manage instance. Okay. Manage instance is not the thing for backpack. So we have complete compatibility of backup restore. So I can just go ahead and straight away I can restore my databases even from 2008. I repeat, even from 2008. Okay. So remember that point. So another biggest setback with Azure SQL databases, when I say Azure SQL databases, it's called as database as a service. Okay. Another setback with Azure SQL is if I wanted to refer a database from one database, if I wanted to refer another database, that is not possible. So that is a big bottleneck because when I say applications, most of the applications, when they develop the databases, they have dependencies between the databases. We are not talking about linked servers here. Okay. I'm repeating again. We are not talking about linked servers. Linked servers is across the instances. Okay. We are just discussing between the databases on a single instance. Is that clear? We are just talking about the databases within the instance. We are not going across the instances. So when I say within the instance, when I take manage instance or Azure SQL, so we have few databases, right? So when we have few databases on MI, I can refer, for example, I have a database by name AdventureWorks, and there is one more database by name Stack Overflow. So if there is any dependencies between those two databases, I can straight away say, just like your on premises, I can say select star from uh, um, Stack Overflow dot DBO dot some table name by using the database context as use AdventureWorks. So cross database queries. So this is nothing but cross database query. So I am talking to one database and I am in the context of one database and I'm talking to another database. So this is called as cross database queries. If you have dependencies with cross database queries, then Azure SQL doesn't support that. So that you have to remember. That is very, very, very important thing. Usually we will think that I can access the database, one database from another database. That is not the case. So very, very important point. Okay. And linked servers. When we need to have linked server support, that is not there with Azure SQL. The native linked server support is not there. We have other ways that we can discuss later. So when I say linked servers, the native linked servers is support is not there with Azure SQL. That is also very important thing that you have to remember. And database mail, it's also not there. SQL agent is not there. So there are few things that Azure SQL can't play that role. Okay, so I have the list of topics, so I will share. I'm just discussing overall now, but I will just share the list of every topic that is there with MI, but not with Azure SQL. You need not worry about that. So I'm just letting you know. So these are the things. If you see this diagram, so this is how it looks.
Vamshi, I have a question. So what is the dependency meaning? Dependence of the database mean?
Dependency of the database. So it's, for example, I think I have to. I will show you. I will show you in few minutes. Okay, just wait for it because if I
Okay.
take that up, it will disturb the flow.
Haha, okay. Yeah.
Okay, so I think it is running, so I can make use of it. Yeah, any other questions? Okay, so I will move on. So before I, sorry, I will close this. So before I move on, I would request the people to watch this video. Okay, so Azure managed instance, it's there publicly available. So how to create managed instance from the portal. So I will say how to create this one. So this one, I published this last year on August 2nd. Okay, just 1 year back. But by the it's just 1 year of time, right? But during this time, many changes happened with MI. Many changes. So that is what I'm going to discuss with the current MI sessions that I'm going to talk about. Okay, many changes. What are the changes that happen? Of course, the basics will be there and the changes will also be discussed. That is the important thing. Okay, coming back to MI. So let's go to the architecture for a second. So if this is the architecture prior to November 2022, and this is the current architecture. So it means something happened with November 2022, and there are some changes from November 2022. Remember this point. Very, very, very important point. Okay. Some changes happened from November 2022. Okay. So even the architecture itself got changed. For example, if you see here, this is the architecture, the current architecture. Okay. And this is the previous architecture. So it means MI has gone through some changes and we should know, as a DBA, I should know what are the changes that happen with MI and what are the benefits that I can make use of with the recent changes that happen with MI. So that is my main focus. Okay. So any questions? Clear, unclear?
Clear.
Clear, Vamshi.
Okay. So this is called as the changes that happened from November 2022. It's called as November 2022 future wave. So that name itself is called as November 2022 future wave. So some changes happened. So we are going to discuss about the changes that happened with November 2022 future wave. So before I discuss this future wave, first I would like to deploy the mission first so that you will get that feel. And later from tomorrow, you can see the practicals and the theory together. Okay. So I would like to spin the MI first. So before I spin, I would like to pass on some important message. MI will cost you a lot. It costs a lot. For me, when I spinned up managed instance last year, it costed me close to 2,000 euros. More than that, not just 2,000. It's more than that. When I convert that to Indian currency, it comes around close to 2 lakhs. Okay, so if you wanted to learn MI, you have to pay money. It will not work with free trials. That is first thing that you have to remember. You can't practice with your free trial account. Okay, that is first thing. Second thing, previously we don't have the support of stop and start for manage instance. Of course, we are going to discuss about that, but I'm just letting you know the important points. You cannot practice MI with your free trial account. That is first thing. And MI is very costly. That is the second thing that you have to remember. Third thing, you cannot stop and start MI previous in your previous versions. Okay, but now they have that support. You can start and stop manage instance. At least that is there. So I can save a bit of money, but still, even though if you start and stop MI, it will cost you a lot. So remember these points. If you wanted to practice yourself, at least you have to waste 40 to 50,000 for all the practicals what I'm going to show you. For me, it costs a lot. I'm ready to bear because I wanted to learn. So I'm going ahead with that. But if you wanted to practice, it will cost you roughly around 40 to 50,000. So I'm just giving you the charges as well. It might go up also. It depends, but the basic charges itself will cost you 40 to 50,000. Okay, so let's go to portal. You can practice Azure VMs, you can practice Azure SQL, but you can't practice MI. That's the reason people outside will not teach you MI, and it will cost a lot for the trainers. They don't take that risk. So you can come here to the search box and you can say Azure Manage Instance to spin that up. Okay, so you can do like this Azure, sorry, I can say Manage Instance, not Azure. So managed MANAGD instances, SQL Manage Instances. So I can go with this and I can create one, or else you can just go with SQL virtual machines and you can create from there also. It's our choice. So if I go here and if I click on create, it will give us that option. So if you see, three options are there. Virtual machines, this is nothing but infrastructure as a service. Manage instance, yes, this is platform as a service. SQL database, this is also platform as a service. The difference between them is this is instance as a service, this is database as a service. So here you will see master, model, MSDB, TMDB. Here, when you open up, when you connect to the instance, you will see only master database. You will not find model, MSDB, and TMDB also. Okay, so you will not find model, MSDB, TMDB here. I'm just letting you know the basics. Here you can find everything because this is instance. Okay, even in manage instance, we have something called as pools and Azure Arc. So I'm not going to touch about pools and Azure Arc. It is outside the scope for the moment. So once I learn these topics, maybe I will plan in the future, but not for the moment. Okay, so here I can come and I can click on create. So I'm clicking on create. And one more very important thing, I'm talking about real time now. I'm talking about real time. So when you spin up manage instances, okay, when you spin up manage instances, definitely in your real time, you'll have development, UAT, pre-prod, and test, whatever it is, production, something like that, right? So when you are spinning the manage instance in real time for production and for lower, I think even for UAT, that support is not there. This November 2022 feature wave, as you can see from here, that support is not there. So it will cost us a lot. Means since I don't have start stop option, for the older features of MI, I mean before November 2022, so it will cost us a lot. That is one important thing. And again, I'm repeating, if you are on development environment for your subscription, then only you can make use of this feature. If it is production, you cannot apply this feature. You have to wait for it. So that is the only thing that you have to remember in real time. Any questions? I know I didn't explain clearly. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm okay to repeat it again.
Vamsi, I have one question. You said about the architecture, right? Yes,
Yeah.
there are few changes. It's applicable for or that's a general purpose or business.
We didn't discuss about the general purpose and business critical for the moment. Okay, so I will show the screen and I will spin the mission and we'll discuss about each and everything. Okay, because I wanted to have my sessions practically. So that's my answer. So when I say November 2022, okay, I'm talking about real time because when I spinned up my manage instance in my office, at my office, okay, so this feature, when I selected, when I come down here in real time, you will see Azure for here you are seeing just Azure subscription. Okay, here you are just seeing Azure subscription because it's just my account. But in real time, you will see development subscription, test subscription, production, pre-prod, something like that. So when I choose production subscription here, okay, and automatically this feature will be degraded. That's what I'm saying. Okay, if you choose production subscription or pre-prod subscriptions, this feature is not applicable. This feature for the moment is applicable only with your development subscriptions. It's not with the higher environment subscriptions. Is that clear or not?
Yeah, Vamsi. So this is only for the development. As soon as you
Yes.
select the development, it will be visible, or
It
else
will be visible, and you can
invisible.
click on yes, it will allow us to proceed. But for production, if I choose, for example, imagine I have some set of subscriptions, and if I choose, imagine this is a production. Okay, if I click on production, definitely it will automatically gets degraded. Okay, this feature will not let you to select November 2022 future wave if you choose production subscription. Okay, not just production, even for the pre-prod also it is not allowing. Even for UAT, when I tested, it didn't allow. For the moment, they are allowing only for development subscriptions. That is what you should remember when you are doing this in real time. Maybe if your company has any further relationship with Microsoft, or if they have any maybe few things which my company is not having, it might work. But for sure, for the moment, they are supporting only development, lower subscription. Definitely, I can say one thing: production is not currently applicable. You have to go with older architecture only. That I can say confidently.
Vamsi, one question. Based on this subscription, let's say like subscription is a production, right? So the upon the word or wording, it is just identifying how it is identifying. Because as is there any reason they are identifying?
That's a good question. Even I don't have answer for that for the moment, because I don't have opportunity to work in real time. That is the biggest challenge what I have with me. Okay, so but I've seen this. That's why I'm saying that is one thing. But I will let you know like how it is identifying, whether it is production or looking at the naming convention or behind the scenes how it is checking. I will definitely check that and I will pass the answer.
Yeah, sure. Thanks.
Yeah. So I would like to have these kind of questions, guys, so that it makes me think and it gives you the better opportunity to learn. So don't sit silently. If you have any questions, shoot the questions, whatever it is. Okay. So I like the question what he asked just now. He said how MI determines whether it is production subscription or a development subscription internally. So how it is getting recognized. That's a good question, right? So that should come up for our minds. Even I didn't, of course, I got a question, but I don't have an answer for that question for the moment.
One more thing, Vamsi, sorry
Yeah.
for this follow-up question, but let's say like, we have a in smaller environment, right? Let's say only one subscriptions, and there is like, underneath that, like we are spending up like non-production and production research group. So how that would be works if this does the case? Let's say like, in the main subscription, it's a non-production or whatever we have defined. And like under the tree, in research group level, we will define different thing like production, non-production. Also, that will be identified by the Zoom.
No, I don't think so. But I will take this question and I will research on this question before I pass wrong. I don't want to pass any wrong answers. So I just I will ensure that brought very strictly. Okay, so I have to go with 2022 future wave because I wanted to explore those features. So I will say yes for the moment. In the past, when I spinned up, I don't have this option at all because as you can see, my videos are last year, August 2. So at that time, we don't have that support. It started happening from November 2022. So let me go back to that. Okay, so I'm choosing yes now. And I will explain the differences with the architecture. What are the changes that happen with respect to architecture of the current one and the previous one. So this is the current one and this is about the previous one. Okay. Any questions? Okay. So here, resource group, I have to select resource group. For the moment, I'm just choosing the existing resource group, what I have. I can create new resource group as well. Let me create new resource group. I will say Azure MI. Resource group is nothing but you are keeping all your resources under one tree. So if you wanted to destroy at one shot. So you need not worry, and you need not go to each and every mission and delete that one. So you can just go to the top of the tree and just cut that branch. So it will just delete everything. So resource group is like the top chair. So if you wanted to go at one shot, you can do it at resource group level.
Vamsi, one more question. Sorry.
Yeah.
Instead of creating that Azure MI, can you put something else, a resource group? Because if it is create route tables and everything with the separately with the new features, could be possibility to see
You
difference
want me
between
to
the
give new name?
yeah, new name like November wave
So
or
I'll say Azure MI
sorry.
2022.
Yeah.
Okay. So manage
So
instance name is something that you have to be careful. So the maximum length, I guess it is 16, and it doesn't allow uppercase letters. It will not allow. So it has to be lowercase, and the maximum length is 16 characters. Okay, and also there is one more thing. If you can see here, only regions enabled for 2022 feature wave are visible. Even, for example, if I choose here, so I'm choosing UK South, right? So for example, if I go and if I type, let's say we have India, Central India, let's see. It's not popping up because see, since I opted for 2020 feature wave, I am not getting Central India here. So I will show you. Let me go to the top. And if I disable this, okay. And if I come here, if you see, I'm getting Central India. Getting the point? So it is not there in all the regions for the moment. That is also one more thing that you have to remember. So if I wanted to go with Central India, that is not there. Even the West India, I think it's not West India. What is that option? South India? With India, what I have? Okay, South India. So if I go South India, okay, and if I wanted to go with that new future wave, what I'm talking about, it's not there. So it won't allow us to choose South India. For the moment, it's not there with India. That is also one more thing. So before deploying this future, you have to have this information with you. Like what are the regions, Azure regions that are supporting this future wave? Okay. So as I'm working for Ireland, so I can choose this option. So MI name. So it is up to you guys. You can let me know whatever the name what you want. I'll say Azure MI. What can I say? Demo.
wave, wave, the new one.
Maybe 2022.
Yeah.
Okay. So see the names here. Use your server name cannot start or end with hyphens. Even hyphens are not allowed. Okay. Why I'm saying this, you will get to know. You will get to know the naming convention of MI. Then in this plays a significant role. So I will let you know why I'm talking about this later. For the moment, it's okay. But there are many things that I'm going to deep dive. Oh God. Okay. So what we discussed till now, we just discussed that about future 2022 wave, and I told you it's not applicable for higher environments like production or pre-prod. That is first thing, and only few regions are supporting that November 2022 feature wave. For the moment, it is not there with India, so I have to choose North Europe. So Europe.
So Vamsi, can you rename the managed instance once you decided at some point I want
No,
to
we
rename
can't.
it?
No, it's not possible. So once you created that, it's not possible to change that name, but you can create alias. Okay, you can
Okay.
create alias. So you'll get to know all those things.
Okay.
Uh,
Can I ask one more question on the resource group? So is there a best practice for you to have like a SQL MI on one resource group? Like if you have multiple managed instance, let's say prod dev, all that, do you create them in one resource group or are you going to have them in different resource group? Is
so
there anything like that?
so usually for subscriptions also, we will have separate subscriptions for each environment. That is the best practice that you have to follow. Okay, when you are
Okay.
choosing the subscriptions itself, you will go with production subscription, test, UAT, pre-prod, something like that. So if you don't have at subscription level, then you have to go with at least at resource group level to segregate your environments, right? So my answer will be go with subscription level. That is the best answer, and that is what is being followed across many companies. But there are few companies where they will go with one subscription, and you have to segregate based on resource group.
Okay.
Okay, so for the moment, I can see Europe, UK South, and US Central West. So I'm going with UK South. Okay, so if you are not seeing a region, if I click on that, so it's only being supported on supported regions. If you wanted to know, you can click on this and you will get to know the regions that are being supporting this future waves. Okay, so for the moment, it's okay, fine. I'm going with this. And now here comes the general purpose discussion. So let's click on that configure manage instance. So we'll talk about this now. See the bill, what I'm getting, guys. Just see the bill. Okay, per month I need to pay 1724 US dollars. So that is for 8 cores. Even if I get it down to 4 V cores, see this 876 V cores. So even if I reduce the size, going with 32 GB, there will not be much because storage is very cheap. It's very cheap. Okay, even if you go with 256, it will not be that high. See the difference? It's not high. Even if I go with the minimum configuration, which is 4 cores and 32 GB, it will cost you 847 US dollars per month. Means if we convert this to Indian currency, somewhere 900. I will just round it off to 900. 900 into 80, 72,000. So as I told you, it will cost you a lot. You cannot practice this. Okay, so you have to rely on your environments. Like maybe if your office is providing some kind of test environment, then you can practice. But if you wanted to practice on your own, it costs a lot. Okay, coming back to this. So what is general purpose? What is business critical?
Vamsi, sorry, one quick question. Let's say, like, if we spin up and if we like, use like couple of hours, like 2-3 hours or 5 hours, then it will charge only for those particular time frame, but that CPUs and all, or it and the storage would be the permanent, right?
See, for Azure SQL, we have something called as provisionless. Okay, provisionless option is there. So I'll just show you. I think if I click on this, I will lose this. Let me show you with another window. I'll talk about that. Just a second.
Okay, sure.
Oh, I'm running out of battery. Give me a second.
Sorry, Vamsi, because I'm asking questions, so it get recorded and I can rewind later also. So that's the reason I'm asking that question.
Okay. So let's go to the virtual machines. Only one thing. Okay, I don't have that SQL, Azure SQL. I think I deleted that. When you have Azure SQL, the one thing what you have to remember is we have something called as provisionless. So if I choose provisionless, it will only cost us when you are utilizing the resources. When you are not doing it, it will not cost anything for us. That is the beauty of Azure SQL. But the problem with MI is even if you are not using, it will cost us a lot. Okay, that is the biggest headache with managed instance. The main headache is cost. So managed instance is not cheap thing. It's very costlier product.
But Vamsi, with the new features, we can stop and start, right? So
we can
that
stop and start, but still they will charge you for the setup. Okay, behind the scenes there is something called as cluster, so we'll discuss about that in our next classes. So they will charge you and it will cost you. Even if you start it will cost us a lot for MI. Okay, so it's not going to be a easy thing. It will cost a lot. So before we move on, so what is general purpose and what is business critical? Why we are not getting that DTU concept here? Many people, what I observed in the market is they learned Azure SQL here and there. Okay, they got some knowledge and they think MI is one and the same. That is not the case. guys. MI is completely different. Okay. So that's the reason I said at the beginning itself, when I asked you to restore a database from on-premises, definitely I hear the answers like backpack. That is not the case. MI will support manage instance, will support native backup and restore. Okay. So that is first thing that you have to remember. Second thing, we don't have the concept of DTUs here. Okay. DTU is only applicable for Azure SQL. That concept is not there with Azure MI. That you have to remember. Third thing, just like Azure SQL, we have the support of general purpose and business critical, and we don't have something called as hyperscale. Okay. Azure SQL supports DTU model. That is one thing. Inside the DTU model, we have something called as basic, premium. What is that? Three flavors will be there, right? Basic, standard, and premium. Okay, that is there with DTU model. But with MI, that is not there. DTU model itself is not there. Completely ignore the DTU model. When it comes to MI world, we have only two flavors. One is general purpose, and other thing is business critical. So when I compare this with Azure SQL, with vCore model, this is called as vCore model purchasing. So when it comes to vCore models, we have something called as general purpose that is there on Azure SQL also. We have something called as business critical that is there on Azure SQL also. But there is one thing extra with Azure SQL that is called as hyperscale. So if your database sizes are of 100 terabytes and you would like to move to platform as a service world, that is the only option what we got. I repeat, if your databases are of 100 terabytes in size, and if you like to go with platform as a service as your choice, if that is the case, you have to go with only hyperscale. There is no other option that is currently being supported. Is that clear? So I repeat the questions again. So when it comes to purchasing models or service tiers, what are the service tiers what we have with Azure SQL? We have vCore purchasing model and DTU purchasing model. Okay, inside the vCore purchasing model, I have general purpose, business critical, and hyperscale. So I'm talking about Azure SQL here. So it is general purpose, business critical, and Azure, hyperscale, and DTU model. Inside the DTU model, I have basic, standard, and premium. So when it comes to MI, I don't have DTU model at all. So completely ignore the DTU model, and I don't have the hyperscale also. So that is these are the differences when you choose the service tier. Is this clear? Yes or no, or
Yes, Vamsi.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So don't say DTU model for MI and don't say hyperscale for MI. So we have only two flavors, GP, they call it as GP, and the other one is called as BC. GP general purpose, BC business critical. Okay. So before we choose general purpose and business critical, so you have to understand the underlying architecture for GP and BC. So anyone knows what is GP and BC? Underlying architecture.
General purpose architecture is like the SQL and cluster,
Yeah.
and the business critical architecture is like the availability group architecture, the backend.
That's it. Simple answer, straightforward answer. That's what I need. Okay. I don't want you to, say something beyond what I'm expecting or even the interviewer expecting. It's very simple. So I will show you the diagram. So just wait for it. Oh, it's there in page number 118. So I'm going there. 100. So we are very near. This is the general purpose architecture. Okay. It doesn't matter whether it is Azure SQL or MI, this architecture remains the same. I repeat, it doesn't matter. The underlying architecture remains the same with few differences, but this is the architecture that we have to remember. So what is general purpose high availability? Very important thing is, okay. So your application will be connecting to there is something called as gateways. Okay. There is something called as gateways. When you fire ping Azure SQL, or when you say NSLOOKUP Azure SQL or MI, it will never expose the real IP. Okay, it will only exposes the gateway IPs. So gateway IPs are the ones that is being exposed to the outside world. Okay, gateway is nothing but, imagine you are going to a school to talk to your children. So what is the first step that you will do? first step is you will talk over the phone, or you will write a mail to the principal saying that I wanted to meet my kid, right? So once you go to that school, there will be a gatekeeper or watchman sitting over there, and he checks whether you are the valid person or not. You have to show them certain proof. So once he acknowledges that, then only he will send you to the school, inside the school, right? Something like that. So gateways are the ones which is acting like gatekeepers. Not exactly, I'm just giving you a raw example. Okay, so this is the one that is being exposed to the outside world. When I say ping, when I say NS lookup, these are the IPs that are coming up for us. Okay, it's not the MI IP. These are the gateway IPs that are coming back. So if you see this architecture is something very similar to failover clusters, failover cluster instance. That is the first line that you can read it very clearly. Behaves like failover cluster instance. Cluster instance is nothing but, what is cluster feature? I have shared storage, and if something goes wrong, the second node or third node will take care of that, right? So that is what is happening here also. So here, unlike in on-premises or on Azure VMs, my storage will be placed remotely. Very, 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 very important point. I repeat, my storage means data files and log files. I'm talking about both data files and log files. They are not placed on the same operating system, so they are placed somewhere else. So they are placed remotely. Means, read this line: remote storage. It's not local to the machines. It is placed remotely. Okay, it is placed remotely. So there will be latency with general purpose. That you have to understand. Okay, when you just migrate from on-premises to general purpose, straight away people say, okay, my application is not behaving fastly as expected. On MI, I thought it will work superbly. Oh, blah, 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 blah. No, wait, boss. You have to understand very important thing, because if you choose general purpose, the first and foremost thing that you have to remember is storage. Storage is not local. It is placed remotely. So remote storage comes into picture. That is for data files and log files also. Is that clear? You have to understand this concept, guys. Very basic concepts. If you understand the concepts, you can feel much more comfortable.
So this is SSD, Vamsi, or non-SSD storage?
You leave SSDs and premiums, forget about that. What is there beneath the scenes, let's discuss later. But the concept here is, you have the storage placed remotely for general purpose. Okay, except MDB. MDB will be there with your nodes. Okay, it will be there with your nodes. So it will move from one mission to another mission. As you can see, this is the primary replica. When I say primary replica, don't think again like always on. Okay, these are the things that happens behind the scenes and you don't even know. I repeat, you don't even know. You will, so you will connect to the managed instance, and if you think that, okay, I am with general purpose, so let's fire is clustered true or not. So there is a property, right, where I can check whether my instance is clustered or not. What is that? Select server property is clustered. So if it is on premises or Azure VMs, it will give you true. But here, if you fire such queries, don't fire such queries. Okay, this is the internal architecture. Okay, so it is something similar to our failover cluster instance. That is first thing that you have to remember. Second thing is remote storage. All the data files and log files are placed remotely. So if something goes wrong to this node, the spare nodes are there. It will take the control on the storage. Okay, that only two things you have to remember: failover cluster instance, failover cluster instance and remote storage. That's it. So coming to business critical architecture, this is how it looks.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, that TempDB is there on
TempDB is there locally.
Locally. Okay.
Locally. TempDB is there except TempDB. Rest of the files are placed remotely.
Okay.
Okay. When it comes to business critical architecture, this is very important that again you have to understand. Same thing, gateways are there. Okay. So it will not expose the primary replica or second replica. So that is not the case. So when you fire something, you will get the gateway IP here also. Same topic. But instead of failover clusters, I have the always on availability replica. Okay. So when I have the always on availability replica, do you think that you can create always on? No, Microsoft itself, I repeat this line n number of times. Microsoft itself is creating always on availability groups for you when you choose business critical. That means HA is there for you automatically. Okay, don't again say, okay, I can create always on availability groups on managed instance. That is not possible. Okay, Microsoft itself is creating always on availability groups when you choose business critical. There ends the matter. Okay, that is the point that you have to remember. Second thing, you can choose one replica as read only. Okay, so I will show you. I will try to spin one BC because I wanted to practice something. So I'll try to create business critical if possible. Again, I repeat, if possible, because it costs way a lot. So I will just show you how much it will cost. So business critical for itself, it is costing us 847, right? When I choose business critical, sorry, general purpose itself is 847. When I choose business critical, see how it is going. 3 times, almost 3 times. Okay, so if possible, I will try to show. If not, I will just go ahead with general purpose. Where am I? Yeah.
One question. So when could you please go to the previous screen? So in this one, if can you little scroll down, please?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is no option straight away that we can choose IO or IO, right?
No,
so
there is no option.
Yeah, if like application wants to go for highest IO, so do we need to increase the like a vCore or a storage?
That is a very good question. You will come to know in my next class. So how to get the more storage, like the IOPS. We are talking about IOPS. So
IOPS,
how to get that speed. So you will get to know. Okay.
Okay.
For today, just hold that question with you. So I'm just showing you the basics here. Basic itself, it might look complicated if you're not worked on it, but take it easily. So I will make you sure that you will understand everything. Okay, so that is the difference, guys. General purpose. What is the main difference between general purpose and business critical? So let's discuss this one more time. So business critical automatically in total there will be 4 replicas. Leaving out the primary, I will have 3 replicas, 3 secondary replicas automatically created. Read this line n number of times. 3 secondary replicas automatically created. I am not creating, you are not creating, boss. Microsoft itself is creating. So in total, there are 4 replicas. Okay, one replica you can use as for read-only connections. So if you have any read-only connections, just like in on-premises, you can use one replica internally. You don't even know, you will just connect your managed instance only. There is no concept of listener here. Okay, if I say managed instance and failover cluster, you will think that for failover cluster, you'll have something like failover cluster IP and failover cluster virtual cluster name. That is not the case. FCI name is not there, listener name is not there. It's just the MI, only MI name, that's it. Okay, is that clear? Again, I'm asking you because you think that, okay, when I say FCI, there will be FCI name, and when I say always on listener name will be there. No. It's always the MI name that you have to connect.
So I'm saying,
possible to connect to secondaries?
Yes,
like
it is possible. If you use application intent equal to application what is that, application intent equal to read only in your connection string to the MI itself, it will automatically redirect you. There is no concept of listener. Again, I repeat, no listener.
No. And what I'm asking, can we connect physically to the read-only servers?
No, you can't connect physically. No, it's not possible. Microsoft will redirect to one of the second replicas automatically if you choose business critical and if you specify application intent equal to read only in your connection strings. It's not the listener. There is no concept of listener here. Behind the scenes, there will be listener, but you can't see that. Okay, so you can't see that.
Vamsi, quick questions regarding the failover from the primary to the secondary. If something goes wrong, what are that what is the time frame Microsoft have like failover in between?
That I will show you later. So
Okay,
how much
sure.
time will it take? So is it possible to fail over? So those are our questions, right? So I have demos on them. So you need not worry about that. That I will show you. But the concept is, don't fall into the false trap thinking that there will be listener. Because I am showing always on architecture doesn't mean that there is a concept of listener here. It's not possible. Even with Azure SQL, this architecture remains the same. I repeat, even with Azure SQL also, database as a service, not MI. I'm talking about Azure SQL. The same concept, it remains the same even for Azure SQL. Remember these 2 points very carefully. And the local storage, I didn't talk about storage here. If you see, every disk, every server is having the data and log file along with it. This primary replica is having data and log file. Okay, and this second replica is having data and log file along with it, unlike general purpose where my storage is placed remotely. This is what you should understand, guys. Just 2 points. When I asked this question, someone said general purpose is something similar to FCI. Business critical is something similar to always on availability groups. That's it, those 2 points. And then finally, I need business critical will have storage locally, and whereas general purpose, the storage will be placed remotely. That's it, nothing else. Once you have these 4 points in your mind, you are very good DBA when it comes to MI ruling. Is that clear?
Yes, Kamsi, thanks.
Okay. So now I am going with, so we have certain limitations. So what is that maximum size that supports? And those are things are there. So we'll discuss about limitations and the maximum capacities, all those things. So I'm just letting you know, general purpose supports up to 16 terabytes. That is the maximum. And business critical supports up to 4 terabytes. If you choose, again, we have something called as hardware generation. So we have 3 types of hardware generations. I think most likely this is same for Azure SQL also. So we have 3 types of hardware generations: generation 5 and premium series memory optimized. So if you have memory to CPU ratio, means there are applications which are memory bound. Okay, if that is the case, I have to choose premium series memory optimized. And in general, people will go with generation 5, which is good enough for our things. And there is something called as premium series, which is sitting in between these two. I don't think many made use of this option, because these are 2 new series that they have introduced. They introduced these 2 series 1.5 years back, if I'm not wrong. Previously, we used to have generation 4 and generation 5, but now they have come up with premium series and premium series memory optimized. Okay, so now there is one more thing that you have to remember. Okay, so what is the RAM? So I am choosing the cores, that's fine. Means CPU cores I'm choosing, that's good. So I'm choosing the storage capacity, like how much storage that I need. What about the RAM? It depends upon your V cores. Okay, so if you choose generation 5, so it will be 4 into 5.1. So it will be 20.4 GB of RAM. Okay, if I choose premium series 4 cores, then it will be 4 into 7, 28 GB of RAM. So if I wanted to go with premium series, then it is 4 into 13.6, which is some 52 point some number. Okay, so that is how the calculation is being done. Is this clear? So how will I get memory? Depends upon the series what I'm going to choose. Any questions?
Series and that V course, right?
Yeah, V course. Yeah.
Okay.
Series and
One
V
more
course.
question. Yeah, regarding that, do we need to set up the memory configuration at the instance level, like we do that for the IS and that on-prem?
We didn't spin up the MI, so you have to wait for it.
Okay, sure.
1 second, I wrote something very important for myself. Just a second, because we are almost there. Okay, so just a second, guys. So coming to bottom topic, so there is something called as SQL Server license, right? So here I don't have any license, so I'm going with pay as you go. But if you have something in your on-premises, for example, standard edition, software assurance, okay, enterprise edition. So if you have something like that, then you can make use of that purpose. And I will let you know, one general purpose, one standard edition is equal to one general purpose. Okay, so I have that information with me. I don't know where I kept, so I'll search here. So one standard edition It will give you from here, no problem. One standard edition equal to one general purpose manage instance. Let us go from here. Azure hybrid benefit. I think I can get it from here. You can get the cost and all from this calculator, pricing calculator. But I read somewhere and I have, just give me a second, guys. I think it's very important. So, yeah. Okay, but I still remember. So if it is not available, I can let you know. No, it's not there. Let's search one more time. Just give me 1 second. Search. Okay. One standard edition is equal to one general purpose managed instance. Rising, let's see here. Now it's going to pricing. And one enterprise edition is equal to one business critical. So let me search like this. I know the values, so but I'm not getting that information. So I will search this tomorrow. Tomorrow, and I will give you that information also. Like how many, like if you have standard edition on your enterprise, sorry, on your on-premises, so how it is equivalent to here. And I think this is the one. Let me see. So this is what I'm saying. Azure hybrid exchange rates. So if I go here, so this is what I'm saying. Azure hybrid benefit. If I choose this, and if I have license on on-premises and I would like to convert that on-premises mission to MI, then I can make use of that license. So if I choose Azure hybrid benefit, see the cost, automatically it got declined to $555. And you have to remember one thing. So let me go to the top. This is business critical. The first one is business critical. In business critical, if I have enterprise edition on-premises, it is equivalent to one business critical. Okay, if I have standard edition, so it is equivalent to 4 business critical cost, 4 business critical managed instances cost. Okay, if I go to enterprise, general purpose, in on-premises, if I have standard edition, it is equivalent to 1 general purpose. And if I have enterprise edition on my on-premises, so it is equivalent to 4 general purpose managed instances stuff. So this is the important point that you have to remember.
So Vamsi, the 4 enterprise edition, which means like we can have only one MI up and running.
So I'm just giving you this information because licensing is one thing which will be not clear even for Microsoft guys. Okay. So I'm just letting you know that there is one thing called as Azure hybrid benefit. Okay. As per the Microsoft official documentation page, what they are saying is if you have standard edition, so it is equivalent to 1 general purpose. And if you have enterprise edition, it is equivalent to 4 general purpose manage instances stuff. So that's what they are saying. Okay, that's what they are saying. So just keep this point and talk to your licensing team. So if you have this information at least with you, you can talk to them, right? If you don't know about this, what will you talk? So I'm just passing you some important information that has to be there with a DBA. Okay, so I don't have any such feature, so I cannot click on this, but I'm just letting you know in real time I can go with this. And coming to a hybrid failover rights, so I can use one replica as passive. So this is there from 2019. You will get one even in on-premises. I'm saying about on-premises also. From 2019, licensing got changed, and you can use one replica as your DR replica. So they are having the same concept here also. So I don't have any DR replicas or Azure hybrid benefits. So I have to go with pay as you go. So I'm just letting you know cost. Pay as you go 847. Azure hybrid benefit is 555 if you have any. Okay. Hybrid failover rights also is the same thing. Any questions?
The license it will not ask to enter at this moment, right?
Not at this point. Okay, but you have to, that's what I'm saying. Licensing is something which is very unclear to the majority of the people, unless you worked in my licensing team with Microsoft. It's not us that are dealing with licensing. We have a separate team, and they will never expose what is happening, and will never have better picture on this. Even when I spoke with Balmukund sir, he said licensing is the one thing where he is not interested to talk on, because he himself is not clear what's happening with licensing. They will make significant changes, and we don't know what is happening. So it's just like buying a house with all those documents. So I'm not good at this. Okay. So let's go, and let's come back to very important point, which is backup. Okay. Backup, we have 4 options. So we'll discuss about these 4 options, like local, zone, geo redundant, and geo zone redundant. We'll discuss this later. So as you can see, I think I closed my LinkedIn. So I've shown one topic with my MI. So I would like to show you an automation of restoring the backups from geo replication. Means I will be keeping my backups in some other location, and I will use that as a DR. So I have scripts with me. Of course, it's not there. I have to develop. So I will develop those scripts and I'll show you. For the moment, I don't need any backups or such things. So I'm just going with locally redundant backup storage. Click on apply.
Based on the option, will again varies, Vamshi.
There will be some extra cost.
But it is not that final cost, right? It will be whatever the option that we are selecting, that is showing as remain the same.
Yeah. So let's go with authentication. So I'll discuss about authentication tomorrow. So we all know it supports Azure Active Directory and SQL authentication, just like Azure SQL. So for the moment, I'm just going with SQL because I don't have any Azure Active Directory stuff here. I have to use my account. That's fine. So I'm leaving that. So in real time, you have to choose Azure Active Directory and SQL to be on a safer side, so that you can, if something goes wrong with your Azure AD authentication, at least you will have SQL credentials to connect. But I recommend to go with both, just like Windows and mixed mode authentication. Just go with this. But there is one thing, Windows authentication is also being supported on MI. How many of you are aware of this? I think no one knows. MI is something that supports Windows authentication. And for that, you have to do so many things. So I was just reading this article. I'm just letting you know also. This one, I was reading about this, and I have to implement this to show you how Windows authentication works on MI. No one has done this practically. I'm letting you know, no one has done this. Everyone, they might have shown you Azure Active Directory, if possible, that also, and SQL authentication, that is fine. But Windows authentication on MI, I bet you will never find any video on this. Mark my words. Just go and search on internet. It's a challenge. You will not find any video, except that lady from Microsoft. I forgot her name. That's the only thing what we have on internet. I have to create this and I have to test this to show you up. It's not going to be easy for me, I know, but I'm taking this as a challenge because that's what I did. I learned many things by doing all this stuff. Yeah.
Vamsi, this is a Windows authentication in MI. It is in a new way, new feature after 2020.
No, it's a new feature. They started supporting it probably from October last year. When I was teaching, I know it was there, but I didn't do that last time. Because it's very complicated. We have to deal with Azure Active Directory. Active Directory of on-premises. So it's not going to be that easy. So I just didn't concentrate at that time. But this time, I wanted to test this out. and I wanted to show to the audience how it works. Okay, so it's there, it's possible, but it will take immense efforts. Okay, let me go with SQL authentication for the moment. So I will give my name, and I'm setting the password. Oh, sorry, password must be 16 characters in length. I do remember this. So let me pass on. So how much did I? Okay, I think it's 10. So I have to say 12, 14. And I will remember. It's hard for me to remember. Let me give 1 second. 1 second, yes. My God. It's it's not matching. Why it is not matching here? 1 second. Let me write down another calendar. No, it's not working. Let me do this. Eight, 10, 12, 14, 16. And you know what? I didn't tell you one important thing. One advantage with November 2022 Future Wave is your installation will be finished in 45 minutes. Unlike the previous case where it used to take 6 hours. 6 hours versus 45 minutes. So how it is happening? It's happening because of the changes what they made to the architecture. Okay, I repeat. If you don't go with November 2022 Future Wave, it used to take 6 hours. Literally 6 hours for its completion. But after the changes, it's now down to 45 minutes. Max 1 hour. It will not go beyond that.
Swamji, the first time only it is taking 6 hours. Every managed instance is taking the same time.
No, first time for if you are deploying for the first time for the older architecture, it will take 6 hours. And the later ones, it is bit faster comparatively. Maybe it will take 1 hour. I didn't spin other instances, but I'm pretty sure because the cluster is already there, virtual cluster, so it will take less time. Probably 1 hour is the max time. If you are spinning it second MI inside the same subnet, that is one thing. Second thing here, if you are deploying it, the first installation itself will take 45 minutes and the second one will take roughly 1 hour. So it is just a bit opposite.
Okay.
So first
So,
one, yeah.
Sorry, how many instances we can deploy in the single subnet?
Based on the size, right? Range of the subnet, right?
It depends upon the subnet size.
You mean to say IP, right?
Subnet size. So if you wanted to learn these topics, all these were discussed in my classes. So I cannot go back for few of the topics. I mean, especially these networking topics.
No. I don't want you, but I just wanted to okay, I will go through that videos. That's fine. Yeah, I know. I remember I watched that video, so I remember that bit, but just wanted to see.
Yeah. Okay. So networking. This is again one more important section. One more very important. So here in real time, they will create a subnet for you. I mean, networking people will create a subnet for you, and you have to check whether that network is suitable for MI deployment or not. So there is one script that you have to run. So that script will help you to identify whether your subnet is good or bad, whether it is suitable or not. So I am not showing you that up because it will take again some time. So okay, let's stop here. So let's do it from tomorrow. So I will just stop here and we'll continue from where we left. So virtual network, from here we'll start and I will show you that script also and what it does. That is one thing. Connection type, proxy and redirect, there are two things. That is one more thing that I will discuss. Public endpoint, it runs on 3342 port. So you will come to know how to connect with public endpoint and without public endpoint and private endpoint, which is a very new feature. It's just it came to public preview just 1 month back. private endpoints for managed instance. It was not there when I was teaching. That is also I would like to explore. And TLS, we know there is nothing great about TLS. These things can be ignorable. Okay, this is very important. This is what I'm talking about. Windows authentication. If you wanted to have Windows authentication, you need to turn this on. So I'll show you later. I'm just giving you a glance. TDE, that's fine. And the difference, one more difference is collation. I cannot choose different collation for Azure SQL. I can choose collation for MI. That is one thing. Second thing is time zone. I can choose time zone for MI. That is not possible for Azure SQL. So those are the two differences with configuration. Rest all remains the same. And last but not least, virtual network. So what is virtual network and how to create virtual network? This I have discussed in my classes. I cannot repeat this, sorry for that. But one thing I can say, virtual network is there only for VMs and MI. It is not there for Azure SQL. Okay, what is VNet? Yeah, you have to understand by watching any of the videos on the internet. So VNet, this is very, very, very important topic. And VNet is there for MI and it is not there for Azure SQL. That you have to remember. That is very vital difference between MI and Azure SQL when it comes to networking. Okay, I'm stopping because all these topics will take a lot of time. So if I continue, I can go up to 1 o'clock. So that is not the right way. So I'm stopping. If you have any questions till now with the topics, what we discussed, let me know.
Vamshi, one last question here. So the billing will start after provisioning or at the time of provisioning also?
No. Once it gets provision, then they will kick our ass.
Okay.
So I can show you that start stop. Once this installation gets finished, maybe tomorrow I'll show you. So once that installation gets finished, you will get the start stop option to your left hand side. So that I can show you up.
Vamsi, are you planning to deep dive in the networking side? I mean, like, if you go to last window or on the previous window you were?
This one.
Endpoints and public and private endpoints, and then the other one also, I think in the previous one.
See, when I was explaining MI last time, you know what I did? I created on-premises, real on-premises, where I've shown clearly site-to-site VPN between the on-prem machines and MI, and I've shown how to create from MI using the site-to-site VPN. Okay, I've done that, and I've shown peering. Means my MI will be in one network and my missions will be in another network. So I've done peering and I've shown how to connect to MI using peering. Okay, all this many changes, like the significant part with networking, I've done a lot in my sessions. So if I spin that up again, it will take a lot of time. So that's what I'm saying. I wanted to cover basics. Yes, I will cover, but I cannot repeat the same topics of what I covered in the past with MI.
Yeah, understand. Vamsi, can you go to the previous window? Just one thing I think I just wanted to ask you.
So which tab are you saying?
No.
Security? Additional settings?
Okay, scroll down here, additional setting. No, I don't think so. This one. Anyway, I think it's here only itself, I guess. So basically, question was like regarding that route tables and all those things. So where it get created, and if let's say like in single subnets, we are creating multiple. Does it created multiple tables or just like one tables and also?
No, it will create one route table. Okay, so I took a screenshot of the route tables when I deployed MI last time. So if you see here, I have 13 route tables. Not 13, it's 17 actually. If you see 1, 2, 3, 4, it's up to 17, right? Okay, so
right.
And this is about route tables. So I think they are talking one second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, if you leaving out SQL management _0, if you count this, how many? It is 13 guys. Okay, this is about route tables. I will show you once MI gets created. I will show you the route tables, NSGs and all. So these are 13. Okay, these are 13. And if you see the difference, just wait for it. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. The new architecture right now for routing table, it's just using 5 routes, and previous architecture it was using 13. So I can clearly see the number of routes for my previous architecture, it is 13. I can clearly see this. Okay, so I wanted to go up to this level of concepts, like in depth. Okay, so any people who wanted to know MI in depth, they can join along with me. Rest all can ignore. Okay, so bye bye. So I'm not going to invite every time, guys. So it's like just the introduction. I will just take few classes here and there. I mean, for all the people, but don't expect me that I will be passing the links for each and every time. I can't do that. So I have limits. I have shown you, right? The cost that is associated with MI is very high, very, very high. So if I wanted to bear that expense, I wanted to have people along with me. Okay, so I'm stopping here. I will catch you tomorrow. Thanks for your time, guys. If I'm rude anywhere, I'm sorry for that. I'm not talking like in a rude fashion. I wanted to say the cost. It's very costly. That's my biggest concern.
Yeah, no worries, Vamsi. Understand it's costing a lot, so no issues there.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey Vamsi, so this MI is pretty advanced, or it's pretty much same which we had which we discussed previously,
I will
like last
repeat.
time.
See, I will tell you one thing before I went off. Very important thing. So I was asking question to my people. Okay. So there is one video that is there on internet on my channel. So using Azure migration, like using Azure Data Studio. Okay. So when I was teaching that, I told you that there is something called as containers and the structure of the backup files. So there is one very important topic. So when I asked the same question to my folks, which are part of my group, so no one was able to answer this. Means no one has worked on this. So if you see this, okay, I mean there is a huge conversation that is happening. So I asked the same question. Like this topics, whatever I did, it was 1 year back. Okay, but looks like no one has carried out the migration using Azure Data Studio. So I would like to take this opportunity again, and I'd like to show you again. Okay, so this will be like one of its kind of session, guys. So I'm not a regular trainer. Don't treat me like a regular trainer. I'm not like that. So once we are done, that's a different story. I mean to say, you will have connection with me forever. Okay, that is one thing. And the topics will be from basics, and I would like to go into a deep level. When I say deep level, doesn't mean that I will not explain the basics, right? So I have to explain basics first, then only I can achieve that advanced level. So that is what I'm aiming at. So,
Okay. So
yeah.
Vamsi, so are we done with the performance tuning, or we are still trying to achieve
Performance
some more
tuning,
scenarios?
good question. So see, my list is very big. Okay, just stay there. Since you asked, I have to stop the recording because these are all the things. But anyways, so I will just quickly show you up. Where are my missions? Okay. Anyways, I'm not going to spin up today. 1 second. See this? Are you seeing this? SQL Linux. Okay. Why I'm spinning SQL Linux, you know? So I am spinning SQL Linux to create this one. Generator set, TPCH generator set. I don't know how many of you are aware of this. This is very advanced. Okay. It will give us 10 GB database. Okay. Some queries are there that I can fire you up with respect to performance tuning. It will be, you can't even imagine. So it will be superb kind of performance tuning that I wanted to project to you guys. So that's the reason I'm spinning up Linux also to do all this stuff. So I will get the database from here and I have to create it here. I cannot create it directly on the Windows. So this TPCH is having some problems with Windows of MS SQL Server. So that's the reason I spinned up Linux also, just to show up some advanced performance tuning techniques. So there are plenty to learn. I can say you that my group people knows about me. They know how much I go. Okay. So
Yeah.
I don't
Indeed,
want to
indeed,
discuss.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't want to discuss these things. So if people are interested, I will just show you up. It's up to them. Anyways, thanks for your time. It's too late. I will catch you tomorrow. We'll continue from where we left.
Thank you, Vamsi, for such a valuable information.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Take care.
Vamsi. Bye.
Bye-bye.